You have chased something before and felt it move further away the more effort you gave. The message went unanswered. The respect felt thinner. The connection slowly cooled. You tried harder, explained more, showed up again, yet something inside you sensed that the balance had shifted against you. This is not because you are unworthy or doing something wrong. It is a psychological pattern most people are never taught to recognize. When you chase, you send a quiet signal of need, and need weakens your position. What you reach for too desperately begins to control your emotions, your choices, and your sense of self. Stoic philosophy offers a different lens. The Stoics understood that true power does not come from pursuit, but from self-mastery. When you stop chasing validation, outcomes, or approval, you return to yourself. You become calmer, firmer, and strangely more compelling, because stillness creates gravity. This video will show you why letting go is not loss, but strength, and how attraction returns when you stop betraying your own center. 1. Chasing destroys leverage. When you chase something, you quietly place yourself beneath it, not through words but through energy. Leverage is the invisible balance of power present in every interaction, whether in relationships, work, or your own sense of self. The one who needs less always holds more leverage, while the one who reaches too hard slowly gives theirs away, often without realizing it. Chasing may look like effort, but at its core, it is reaction driven by fear rather than choice. Fear is what leaks through when you chase. It shows up in tone, timing, and behavior, even if you believe you are being calm and reasonable. When you chase attention, you teach others that your peace depends on their response. When you chase approval, you signal that your value is flexible and open for negotiation. When you chase outcomes, you allow events outside your control to dictate your inner state, and leverage quietly slips from your hands. This is not about morality or intention. You may care deeply, love sincerely, and work hard, yet still lose leverage through pursuit. Stoic philosophy explains why. Epictetus warned that the moment you desire what is not fully yours to command, you risk becoming its servant. Attachment shifts your posture from grounded to anxious. You stop acting from principle and begin acting from urgency, even when you tell yourself you're being patient. Look closely at how chasing appears in everyday life. It shows up as over-explaining your intentions before anyone asks. It shows up as replying too quickly when silence would preserve balance. It shows up as giving more energy, time, or emotional labor than the situation has earned. Each of these actions seems harmless on its own, yet together they reshape how others perceive you and how you perceive yourself. Leverage is not manipulation, and it is not coldness. It is independence. When your emotional stability relies on someone else's reaction, you are no longer free. You may still be generous, but generosity becomes transactional. You may still be kind, but kindness becomes a strategy rather than a choice. The more you chase, the more your behavior is shaped by what you fear losing instead of what you choose to embody. The Stoics placed self-command above all else. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself not to surrender his inner world to external forces, no matter how chaotic the world became. He did not retreat from duty or connection. He simply refused to let outcomes decide his dignity. Chasing does the opposite. It ties your worth to responses you cannot control and trains you to abandon yourself first, hoping others will meet you there. This is why chasing rarely produces the result it promises. Even when it seems to work in the short term, it costs you leverage in the long run. You may gain attention, but you lose respect. You may gain reassurance, but you lose authority. The relief you feel is temporary, and the imbalance quietly deepens beneath the surface. Stillness restores what chasing erodes. When you stop chasing, you stop leaking energy. You observe instead of react. You choose instead of plead. You allow others to reveal their level of interest without interference. This shift feels uncomfortable at first because silence can feel like loss when you're used to pursuit. Restraint can feel dangerous when you believe control equals safety. Yet this discomfort is not weakness. It is recalibration. When you no longer rush to fill space, others feel the absence. When you stop proving, others begin noticing. Not because you are playing games, but because you are no longer betraying your own center. Leverage returns the moment you stop chasing and start standing firmly where you are. 2. Detachment creates attraction. Detachment is often misunderstood as indifference, emotional distance, or a lack of care. In reality, detachment is the opposite of apathy. It is the state of being fully present without being internally dependent on the outcome. When you are detached, you still engage, still show up, and still invest effort, but your sense of worth no longer hangs on how things turn out. This shift changes how you move through the world, and others feel it immediately. Attraction is not created by effort alone. It is created by stability. People are naturally drawn to what feels grounded, self-contained, and whole. When you are detached, you signal that your life is already anchored. You're not waiting to be chosen to feel complete. You're choosing yourself first, and that quiet certainty generates psychological gravity. Others lean toward it because it feels safe, rare, and solid. Stoic philosophy placed great emphasis on this inner independence. Marcus Aurelius wrote repeatedly about refusing to let external events disturb the mind. This was not because he lacked emotion, but because he understood that emotional reactivity hands power away. Detachment, in the Stoic sense, means you govern your inner world so that nothing outside of you can hijack it. When you live this way, you stop grasping, and grasping is what kills attraction. When you are attached to outcomes, your behavior subtly changes. You monitor reactions too closely. You read into silence. You rush to correct, clarify, or secure reassurance. Even when done politely, this creates pressure. People feel that pressure as expectation, and expectation feels like obligation. Attraction weakens under obligation because it replaces desire with duty. Detachment removes that pressure. When you are no longer trying to extract certainty from others, interactions become lighter and more natural. You listen more. You respond rather than anticipate. You allow space without anxiety filling it. This space is not emptiness, it is a breathing room, and the breathing room is where attraction grows. There is also a deeper psychological layer at work. Detachment communicates abundance. It says, without words, that your life is full enough to withstand disappointment. You are not clinging because you are not afraid of standing alone. This does not push people away. It filters them. Those who only respond to need or validation fall back, while those capable of mutual respect step forward. Detachment also restores clarity. When you are no longer emotionally invested in forcing a specific outcome, you begin seeing situations as they truly are. You notice effort mismatches. You recognize when interest is genuine or when it is fading. Instead of chasing illusions, you respond to reality. This clarity protects your energy and reinforces your self-respect. The Stoics believed that freedom begins the moment you stop needing external approval. Epictetus taught that peace comes from wanting only what depends on you. Detachment aligns with this principle perfectly. Your conduct, your discipline, and your values remain yours. Responses, timing, and other people's feelings do not. When you accept this boundary, you stop confusing effort with effectiveness. Detachment does not make you invisible. It makes you distinct. In a world full of noise, urgency, and emotional bargaining, a calm presence stands out. When you do not rush to be understood, people become curious. When you do not chase attention, attention reorganizes itself around you. This is not manipulation. It resonates. Attraction is not something you manufacture through strategy. It is something that emerges when your inner world is ordered. Detachment is the mechanism that restores that order. You stop pulling, and gravity does the rest. When you no longer need to be chosen, you become someone others choose freely. 3. Chasing is fear, disguised as effort. Chasing rarely feels like fear at the moment. It feels like caring, persistence, or responsibility. Yet beneath the surface, it is often driven by an unspoken anxiety about loss. You chase because you are afraid that if you do not act, something valuable will disappear. This fear does not make you weak, but when it goes unexamined, it begins to shape your behavior in ways that quietly undermine you. Fear shows up in subtle forms. It appears as the urge to fix discomfort immediately. It appears as overthinking silence, rereading interactions, or replaying conversations to search for hidden meaning. You tell yourself you are being attentive, but what you are really doing is trying to control uncertainty. Chasing becomes a way to avoid sitting with the possibility of disappointment. Stoic philosophy addressed this directly. Seneca wrote that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Much of what you fear losing exists only in your mind. Yet when you act from that imagined loss, you bring real consequences into being. You speak too soon, you give too much, you lower boundaries that are protecting your balance. Fear turns into action, and action turns into self-betrayal. At the core of chasing is the fear of being left, replaced, or forgotten. There is also the fear of being irrelevant or unseen. These fears are deeply human, but they become destructive when they govern your choices. Instead of responding to what is happening, you respond to what you are afraid might happen. This pulls you out of the present and places you in a future you cannot control. When fear is in control, effort loses its effectiveness. You may work harder, care more, or give more, yet the results feel increasingly hollow. That is because effort driven by fear carries tension. Others feel that tension even if they cannot name it. It communicates urgency rather than confidence, and urgency repels what confidence attracts. The Stoics did not eliminate fear by denying it. They eliminated its power by refusing to obey it. They understood that fear thrives when you confuse possibility with reality. Not every silence means rejection. Not every delay means disinterest. Not every challenge means loss. When you chase, you treat every uncertainty as a threat, and your nervous system reacts accordingly. Replacing fear-based chasing requires discipline, not suppression. Discipline means pausing before acting and asking whether your response comes from clarity or anxiety. It means allowing discomfort to exist without immediately trying to erase it. This pause is where power returns. When you can sit with uncertainty without moving to control it, fear loses its grip. Stoic practice encourages you to focus on what is within your control. Your words, your actions, and your principles belong to you. Other people's reactions do not. When you accept this fully, fear begins to loosen because you stop placing your sense of safety in unstable hands. You no longer need to chase reassurance when you have grounded yourself internally. There is also a cost to constant chasing that often goes unnoticed. It exhausts you. Over time, fear-driven effort drains emotional energy and dulls self-trust. You begin to question your instincts because you override them repeatedly in the name of preventing loss. The more you chase, the less you recognize yourself. Letting fear pass without acting on it is not passive. It is an active choice to remain anchored. When you resist the urge to chase, you reclaim your authority over your own behavior. You begin acting from intention rather than impulse. This shift is felt immediately, both by you and by others. Attraction begins where fear ends. When you are no longer driven by the need to secure outcomes, your presence becomes steadier. You stop grasping for certainty and start offering stability. Fear no longer leads, and effort finally becomes effective again. 4. Stillness regains. Stillness is often mistaken for passivity, but in reality, it is one of the most powerful forms of control. When you remain still while others react, you keep ownership of your inner world. Control does not come from doing more or speaking louder. It comes from deciding when not to act. Stillness is the space where choice replaces impulse and authority replaces anxiety. When you chase, you surrender control to external triggers. A message, a delay, a tone shift, or a lack of response can pull you into motion without permission. Your behavior begins to orbit around signals you do not command. Stillness interrupts this cycle. It creates distance between stimulus and response, and in that distance, control is restored. Stoic philosophy placed immense value on this pause. Marcus Aurelius trained himself to slow his reactions so that events could not dictate his state of mind. He understood that reacting immediately often means reacting emotionally. Stillness, by contrast, allows reason to step in. When you slow down, you stop feeding situations with unnecessary energy, and many problems dissolve on their own. Stillness also reveals truth. When you stop filling space, others are forced to show their intentions. Silence removes the distractions created by over-explaining or pursuing. It exposes effort levels, interest, and respect without confrontation. This is not withdrawal. It is an observation, and observation provides information that chasing can never deliver. In moments of stillness, you may feel discomfort rising. The urge to clarify, reassure, or fix can become intense. This is where most people break. They mistake discomfort for danger and act to escape it. Yet discomfort is simply the nervous system adjusting to the absence of control. If you remain still, the urge passes and clarity takes its place. Control also returns internally. When you practice stillness, you begin trusting yourself again. You learn that you can withstand uncertainty without collapsing into reaction. This builds emotional strength. Over time, you no longer feel compelled to manage outcomes because you are confident in your ability to handle whatever arises. Stillness changes how others perceive you as well. In a world driven by immediacy and emotional urgency, someone who does not rush stands out. Calm presence signals confidence. Restraint signals depth. People feel safer around those who are not pulled by every wave. This sense of stability draws respect and attention naturally. The Stoics taught that true freedom comes from mastering your responses. Epictetus reminded his students that external events are neutral, and it is your judgment that gives them power. Stillness allows you to suspend judgment. Instead of labeling situations as threats or losses, you observe them as they are. This reduces emotional noise and strengthens decision-making. Stillness does not mean disengagement from life. You still act, but your actions come from intention rather than pressure. You speak when words add value. You move when movement is aligned. You stop trying to manage perceptions and start embodying consistency. This steadiness becomes your signature. There is also a quiet dignity in stillness. When you do not rush to defend yourself or chase validation, you communicate self-respect. You signal that your worth does not depend on immediate acknowledgement. This posture changes the dynamic in any interaction. Instead of seeking control, you become it. Over time, stillness reshapes your identity. You're no longer the one who reacts first or needs to be reassured. You become the one who observes, chooses, and responds deliberately. Control is no longer something you try to seize. It is something you naturally hold. Stillness is not absence of action. It is the foundation of deliberate action. When you stop chasing and start standing still, control returns quietly and completely. 5. Build yourself, and attraction becomes a side effect. Attraction does not respond to pursuit as much as it responds to substance. When you focus on building yourself instead of chasing others, something fundamental shifts. your energy moves inward, and that inward stability begins shaping how you show up everywhere else. You stop asking what will make you desirable and start becoming someone who is grounded, capable, and self-directed. Stoic philosophy places character at the center of a meaningful life. The Stoics did not measure success by applause or attention, but by alignment with virtue. They believed that when your inner world is ordered, the outer world responds naturally. This does not mean life becomes easy. It means you stop leaking energy trying to control things that were never yours to command. When you are not chasing, you have space to build. You build discipline through consistent routines rather than bursts of motivation. You build skill by focusing on mastery instead of comparison. You build resilience by facing discomfort directly rather than escaping it through distraction or validation. These quiet investments compound over time, creating a presence that feels solid and self-contained. Building yourself also restores self-respect. Each time you choose growth over approval, you reinforce trust in your own decisions. You begin to rely less on external feedback to determine your worth. This internal validation changes how you carry yourself. Your posture becomes calmer. Your speech becomes more measured. You no longer rush to prove who you are because your actions speak steadily for you. Attraction emerges as a byproduct of this stability. People are drawn to those who are anchored in their own lives. When you have direction, boundaries, and purpose, others sense that you are not looking to be completed by them. This removes pressure from interactions. Instead of trying to extract something, you offer presence. That presence is what draws people closer. The Stoics emphasized consistency over intensity. Anyone can impress briefly through effort or charm. Few can remain steady under pressure. When you build yourself, you develop the ability to remain composed during uncertainty, disagreement, or delay. This composure signals depth. It suggests that you are not easily shaken, and that quality is inherently attractive. Building yourself also sharpens discernment. When your life is full, you become more selective. You notice when effort is uneven. You recognize when connection is mutual or one-sided. Instead of chasing what feels uncertain, you gravitate toward what is aligned. This selectivity protects your energy and reinforces your sense of worth. There is also a freedom that comes from self-building. You are no longer negotiating your identity based on who stays or leaves. You understand that loss does not diminish you. Growth becomes your anchor, and progress becomes your reference point. When this happens, attachment loosens naturally, and attraction increases without force. Stoic practice encourages daily attention to what you can improve within yourself. Your habits, your reactions, your commitments, and your integrity are always within reach. When you dedicate yourself to these areas, your life gains structure. Structure creates confidence, and confidence creates gravity. You no longer need to be noticed because your presence is felt. Attraction loses its urgency when you are invested in your own becoming. You stop waiting for permission to feel whole. You stop bargaining for interest or validation. Instead, you show up as someone who is already engaged in a meaningful life. Others respond to that engagement instinctively. The paradox is simple. When you stop building yourself to attract others and start building yourself for your own alignment, attraction finds you. Not because you demanded it, but because you became someone who no longer needs to chase. 6. Let go to receive. Letting go is often feared because it feels like surrender. Many people equate release with loss, believing that if they stop holding on, everything they value will disappear. In truth, letting go is not about giving up. It is about releasing the illusion of control that creates tension, anxiety, and emotional exhaustion. When you let go, you stop tightening around outcomes and allow life to respond naturally. Stoic philosophy treats acceptance as strength, not defeat. The Stoics understood that resisting reality drains energy, while aligning with it restores clarity. They practiced what later became known as amor fati, the willingness to accept whatever unfolds without resentment. This acceptance does not mean passivity. It means engaging fully while remaining unattached to specific results. When you hold too tightly, you suffocate what you want. Attachment creates pressure, and pressure creates resistance. People feel when they are being pulled toward a role they did not choose. Letting go removes that weight. It signals trust, not indifference. Trust in yourself, trust in your values, and trust in the natural course of things. Letting go also requires faith in your own resilience. You stop clinging when you believe you can handle loss if it occurs. This belief changes everything. Fear loosens its grip because you are no longer organizing your behavior around worst-case scenarios. You act with integrity instead of desperation, and integrity is magnetic. The Stoics trained themselves to separate effort from attachment. You show up fully. You act with care. You speak honestly. Then you release the outcome. This discipline protects your inner peace. You stop rehearsing future conversations or replaying past moments. Your attention returns to the present, where your power actually resides. There is a quiet confidence in letting go. When you are no longer trying to force interest, connection, or validation, your presence softens. You become easier to be around. Conversations feel more genuine because they are not loaded with expectation. This ease invites reciprocity. People lean in when they do not feel pushed. Letting go also clarifies boundaries. You stop negotiating your standards out of fear of losing something. If alignment is there, it remains. If it is not, you allow distance without drama. This clarity prevents resentment from building and preserves self-respect. You are no longer torn between holding on and letting go, because your values guide your choices. The paradox of receiving is that it requires openness. When you cling, you close yourself off. When you release, you create space. That space allows new possibilities, deeper connections, and unexpected opportunities to emerge. You cannot receive with clenched hands. Letting go opens them. Stoic wisdom reminds you that nothing external truly belongs to you. People, outcomes, and circumstances pass through your life, not under your ownership. When you accept this, you stop fearing their movement. You enjoy what is present without trying to freeze it in place. This attitude transforms how you experience connection and success. Letting go does not mean withdrawing effort or care. It means trusting that your worth is not dependent on what stays or leaves. You remain committed to your principles regardless of the outcome. This commitment grounds you and makes you reliable to yourself. When you let go, you stop chasing and start receiving. Not because you deserve more, but because you have stopped blocking what is already trying to reach you. Letting go restores balance. It returns you to yourself. And from that place, attraction flows naturally, without force or fear. Throughout this video, you've seen a simple but uncomfortable truth. The more you chase, the more leverage you lose. Chasing weakens your position, feeds fear, and pulls you away from your own center. Detachment restores balance. Stillness returns control. And when you focus on building yourself instead of pursuing validation, attraction becomes a natural side effect rather than a desperate goal. Stoic philosophy was never about withdrawing from life. It was about engaging with discipline, clarity, and self-command. When you stop chasing outcomes you cannot control and commit instead to your character, your actions, and your inner order, everything changes. You no longer react from anxiety, you respond from strength. Now the practice begins. Pay attention this week to where you feel the urge to chase. Pause instead of reacting. Choose stillness over urgency. Invest your energy in habits, discipline, and growth that do not depend on anyone else's response. This is how self-respect is rebuilt, one decision at a time. Thank you for spending this time reflecting with me. If this message resonated, take a moment to like the video, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe for more Stoic insights. Leave a comment below with the phrase, "I don't chase, I am attracted." I'll see you in the next video.